What happens when an agreement of sale gets terminated? We reviewed how an agreement of sale is a promise, and we've reviewed how contingencies add conditions to that promise. Now let's talk about when that promise gets broken. It's called a termination of the agreement of sale. About 5% of deals that are listed with a realtor and go under contract will not close for one reason or another. We don't have data on off-market deals, but my gut feel is the number is probably more like 10 to 20% fall through for off-market deals. When this happens, it's important to refer to the agreement of sale. A good agreement of sale will outline what should happen upon a termination. Usually a termination occurs because a contingency hasn't been met. For example, the buyer couldn't obtain financing or the seller couldn't find suitable housing. In these situations, the earnest money that was submitted by the buyer simply gets sent back to the buyer. In rare occasions, the buyer or seller might fail to perform or just kind of change their minds. Let's talk about worst case scenarios. If a buyer fails to perform on their promise, then the seller is entitled to keep the buyer's earnest money deposit. If a seller fails to perform, meaning they decide not to sell or maybe they can't sell, the only recourse available is to take legal action. First, I'd like to point out that it very rarely gets to this point. I've never seen it happen. Usually if a seller backs out, a sensible buyer will get their deposit refunded and simply walk away. With all that said, I'm not an attorney, so I'm not going to try and explain all the legal ins and outs because I can't. If you're interested in learning more, just Google Liz Pendens. Hopefully this gave you a good overview of what can happen if an agreement of sale gets terminated. Like I said, it happens about 5% of the time, but it's important to be prepared with a general knowledge of what could happen before you sign anything. I'm Kyle McCorkel with Prime Home Real Estate, and thanks for watching.